Capricorn. Excuse me. Welcome back to MonAndU. So we are going to dive into your messages. These are just general messages for the collective of Capricorn. When I was sitting down and meditating and contemplating on how I was going to structure these readings, how I was going to help you all tap into your own intuition, your own inner knowing, I got this image of 3 different piles, and they signify sun, moon, and rising. This way, there is a general message for Capricorn placements throughout, but the first one is Capricorn Sun, second one is Capricorn Moon, third one is Capricorn Rising, excuse me. If you are unaware of a placement within Capricorn outside of, say, your sun sign, because most of us know what our sun signs are based off of the date in which we were born, you can absolutely check those out online. You can go to astro.com or astro-seek.com. And as you guys can maybe tell, I am still navigating through some laryngitis, a little bit of a cough, cold thing, but that is not going to stop me. Okay. Okay, Capricorn, I just really feel like jumping right in, and I am not at all surprised when I got the overall message for you guys, which is the cards that are on the thumbnail for this. It's the Knight of Pentacles, and then we have this. It says Hidden Portal, Alternate Routes, Look Closer, Creative Solutions. And then we have the Honeymoon, which is number 4. And it says productivity. It also has a honeybee in the middle. The reason why I showed you guys the hidden portals is because your productivity energy is really, really powerful. It's really strong. So when I got up today, because I've been feeling kind of under the weather and everything like that, I took a rest day yesterday. When I got up today, I immediately jumped into productivity mode in my housework, in, doing spiritual cleansing, making sure that I had all of my spiritual hygiene routines handled, and felt really calm and centered to come here. But as I dipped further and further into your energy, there was this kind of frustration, irritation, this kind of, it's almost like you're backed into a corner, but you also are trying to go directly forward into a wall, and you don't understand why you're in the corner nor why the wall exists. And the biggest answer I can give you is because there is another route that has not yet been seen. So I want to go into your channeled messages that I got first. And I did want to make a note. I just saw 3:33 on the clock, so you guys might be seeing that. I'm going to make sure I note that down. Number 333. Okay. Okay. So the messages that I got for your sign, whether you're sun, moon, or rising, the word that came through the strongest was unprecedented. And I heard we are living in unprecedented times. And then this question, well, what is the meaning of this and where did it come from? And when I hear those questions, that's usually my guide's way of telling me, go into the definition, go into the etymology. So the etymology of a word is its origin point. It kind of breaks it down piece by piece and goes back in time as far as it can. Some of the essences of this particular word goes all the way back to Proto-Indo-European language, which is like the earliest known language. So I was getting definitions, etymology, understanding. So the definition of unprecedented is it's never done or known before. And then the etymology, we have which is not, but it can also be used in a term that is euphemistic or emphatic. So if you say like an untruth, that means it's a lie. It's euphemistic in nature. It's not saying that it is it's saying it's a not truth, but we don't call it a not truth. We call it a lie. Precedented is you have that past suffix on the end of ed, and it's precedent, which drops down to proceed, and that is yielding to those that came before. And now the reason why this is important is because sometimes when I struggle with the energy of the word itself, it's not that I don't know what the meaning of the word is, but it's more there's, excuse me, guys, there's this underlying energy. I'm going to take a drink of coffee real quick, see if I can clear my throat. So there's an underlying energy, and it is very much like this hidden portals card. There's another way of understanding this. So we're going all the way down, and unprecedented is a way of saying there is no time in the past in which this particular thing, experience, way of being, way of thinking, any of those things, and it's going to apply to each one of you however it's meant to. I know on a global scale, we are genuinely in unprecedented times, same as we are astrologically. It's just the planets have never been like this. The energies have never been like this. And that's one of the reasons why we're all here right now. So the question that I got, actually a few questions, is what do we do when everything that came before carries no example of the current or present moment? Who then leads? Who then follows? Where is order amidst the cacophony of chaos? And the reason why I heard, and cacophony of chaos was very, very specific. Now, cacophony is a big, noisy thing. So if we have a big, noisy chaos in our life, we've got something that it doesn't have to be noise that you hear with your ears. When my kitchen, I'm going to give an example. When my kitchen gets overloaded with dishes and the counters haven't been cleaned in a day or two, that means that I've cooked on it or my kids have cooked on it. That means, I have cats, they've likely crawled on it. And so I usually am up and cleaning my kitchen counter 2 or 3 times a day, just because I want to make sure that when we eat at the counter, work at the counter, or utilize the counter for cooking, that it is sterilized in a healthy environment to do so. I also don't want to deprive my animals because I believe my animals should just live free, kind of thing. But when it gets to be that point, I got so off track. I was like, I need to be pulled back. When it gets to the point that the dishwasher is full of clean dishes, there are dirty dishes in the sink, there's little spots on the counter, it's noisy to me. There is a cacophony of noise to it. And now before I came here, my kitchen was actually in that state. I don't know if you guys can hear it because I usually make sure that there's not a lot of background noise, but I've got my washing machine downstairs going. I've got my dishwasher going. I have all the windows that I can open on my main floor open. I have my windows and the shades open, which is why the light is just kind of glary for this one. Because the feeling of spring, of light, of joy is helping negate that weight that came through the winter season. And the fresh air moving in helps clear out any stagnancies. It's helping take care of that noisiness that can get into the energy and into the air. This is really important because we think of things like the word cacophony. We think of it in terms of something that you can hear. And for you, I actually got like cicadas. And then I heard your natural rhythm is grasshoppers in the winter. And I am not entirely sure on that one, but it's like things that shouldn't be there are there. So I got the TV show Lost. I don't know if any of you guys watch it, but there was a polar bear in the jungle during that movie or during that show, And they explain why it's there later on in the later seasons. But in the beginning, when they discover, hey, there's a polar bear here, and this is like, we're in the middle of a jungle, tropical jungle, the flight for lost, the concept is a plane crashed on an island and they're lost on this island. And the thing about that is that they left from Australia to go to Los Angeles. So they're somewhere out in the ocean, like in this open ocean area. And this polar bear shows up in the jungle. It's not something that you would expect. So the question is if there's something there that you shouldn't expect, then why is it there? What purpose is it serving for you right now? If chaos is noisy, but you can't hear the noise of the chaos, where can you recognize that sometimes what we hear is not coming through our ears, but it's coming through our energetic field? And Capricorn, especially with you, you have this beautiful ability to either be incredibly pragmatic and down to earth, or to be incredibly emotional and in tune with the flow of the energy. And sometimes you can switch that on and off as though you're two different people. But the thing is you are both these people at the same time. These two energies, these two ways of being exist within you. You are whole, even when you are so down to earth that you don't feel like all of this woo-woo stuff really means much. But then you still engage with the woo-woo stuff and you're like, but why am I doing it? You're doing it because there's another part of you that can hear beyond even the words that I'm saying. You can see beyond the images on the card or the words on the card, and you can go deeper into that because, and I will say this until I'm blue in the face, this is my Capricorn mountain or hill that I am sticking my flag in, and I'm willing to die on this hill. Capricorn, you are a beautiful, perfect essence of both water and earth. That is why your symbol, your animal symbol, and your constellation symbol is a sea goat. You defy all odds, all reasonability, and that's why cacophony of chaos can be something that makes zero noise, because a sea goat should not be able to climb a mountain, nor should it be able to swim to the depths of the ocean, but you can do both. I got, as I was explaining, or as I was picking up that like polar bear in the jungle, grasshoppers in the winter, cacophony of chaos that you don't hear, I got this essence of confusion. And that again came back to that frustration that in the corner or backed into a corner with a wall right in front of you, how did you get here? This nothing makes sense. And then as soon as the phrase nothing makes sense came through my mind, I heard the song Nothing Else Matters by Metallica. And that song was released in 1991. And I don't know why that's important unless maybe that's your birth year or something important happened to you in 1991. You may want to look up the lyrics to Nothing Else Matters. I didn't write anything down for the lyrics themselves, but I did feel like if you were called to it, maybe those lyrics would be illuminating to you. But after that, I heard what a difference a life makes. Not usually you hear it in terms of what a difference a year makes, what a difference 20 minutes makes, what a difference blah, 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 whatever, makes. For me, I can definitely say what a difference 3 years makes in my life, because my life has changed so dramatically in the past 3 years. My health has done a rapid improvement to an even more rapid destructive decline. And now it's slowly building its way back up. And that happened in the span of a year of my life in such extreme ways. So for me, I can grasp that. But what a difference a life makes comes down to what life has made a difference on you. Also, how do you view your life? Do you see it as a single life? Do you see it as multiple lives? These aren't questions I can answer. I also got when it says what a difference a life makes, I got this very strong indication because it came through capital letters flashing through my mind, your life. And then this message of you are the ancestor, Capricorn. You are the ancestor. So yes, things can be really confusing. It can feel like you have all of these things that you need to get done. You have all of this energy to put forth into this area, and there's a wall in front of you. There's a corner behind you. Where are you going to go? You're going to go up or you're going to go down. And if you go down, you have to dig your way down and dig a tunnel and get around it. But is that impossible? You're the one that decides that. And with the message that you are the ancestor, that's something that even I have had come forward in my life. And it's not an easy message to receive at times because that asks us to be conscientious of people that don't exist yet. It asks us to think about the actions, the thoughts, the way that we live, the way that we interact with the world, with the universe, with each other, even with our inner selves, to think about the impact, the ramifications of these things in some distant future that has not yet come to pass per our kind of structured reality of time. It's asking you to think about your children, your grandchildren, your grandchildren's children, and so on and so forth. If you don't have kids or don't plan on having kids, it asks you what footprint you're leaving behind for the people who come into this world, into this life next. What impact are you leaving on this world? And we can aggrandize this thing, this notion, this ideation that we've got to have this big, huge way of leaving an impact. But the smallest pebble will still create a ripple effect in a calm lake. And those ripples will go out and it will change the surface of the lake. It will change the dynamic of the water. It will change the flow. It will change the energy. That singular pebble changes everything about the structure and the nature of that lake itself. One pebble changes everything. So you have that capability. You are capable of being that one pebble. And when we're asked to keep moving forward and to believe in ourselves and to keep being productive, but find a new route, find a path that people just won't expect from you. That's a kind of WTF moment. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what are we doing here? I get it, Capricorn, because I've had those moments where I've been pulled away from certain creative projects, or I've had, what we thought would be a structure for our family life just get shattered. And I just have sat down at times and looked up at the sky and been like, what the fuck is going on? What is this? How am I supposed to handle this? What do you expect me to do here? What can I do here? And it's only through trust in myself, trust in my guidance, that I can move forward. I don't know what you need within you, but I do feel that frustration and that confusion. And I also feel that I know what I am capable of. I know how much I'm capable of, but I just can't fill in the blank. I can't push past this wall. I can't get out of this, backed into a corner. I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel because I'm not even sure I'm in a tunnel right now. I don't even know that there is a light that could be found, that any of it. I get that, Capricorn. And that's not an easy thing. I won't negate that. All right. So your guides want you to take this message. They want you to be patient with yourself. They want you to observe. Redefine what your senses mean to you. Redefine a sixth sense so that you have a more broad interaction with the universe. All right. I'm going to move these aside. We are going to move into Capricorn Sun specific messages. And we are at 2012. All right, Capricorn Sun. First, we have a waning crescent moon, and it says rest, and this is earth energy. The high priestess, Capricorn Suns. This one is that message. If you guys didn't listen to the collective message and skip straight to the Capricorn Sun, you may want to go back. For the sake that this high priestess card is just doubly reaffirming what that message was. And then we can't make this shit up. We've got messengers, guardians, divine orchestration, and calling and support. Right here. I'm going to try and move this close enough so there we go. Okay. Right here. Okay. When I went to bed last night, I'd slept a lot yesterday. I was not feeling well. I've got this tickle in my throat, all of that. But I just felt like really weighed down yesterday. I woke up this morning and I don't remember exactly what happened in my dreams, but I do remember the point of it. And it didn't have a connection here with you guys until just now. And it's not the context of the dream, that's for a different sign, but it's more along the lines of one of the things that I've had to learn. And I've had to learn this the hard way, Capricorn. Genuinely have had to learn this the hard way. That we need to allow ourselves to rest. You can be filled with this energy of productivity. You can be filled with the most inspirational idea ever. But if you don't allow yourself to rest, if you don't allow yourself to take a break, to take a time out, to step back and to rest, you're creating an internal and an external imbalance. Part of the reason why I got so sick over the last year is because I couldn't slow down. I couldn't allow myself to pause, because if I paused, if I slowed down, if I stopped, I would feel the totality of the pain that I was in, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally. I needed to heal and I needed to keep going on my healing path. And I needed to keep doing everything that I was doing. In my brain, that was exactly right, until I got to the point where I was on the edge of dying. And I realized, what is the point of living my life that way? What is the point of pushing and pushing and pushing? I'm never going to hear that I was super successful if I don't push myself, kind of thing. It's the hustle culture that we live in. But at the same time, the more that I would run, the further that I would run, I was running away from what I was trying to heal. Blocking it out and ignoring it and denying it didn't do me any good. Rest is key. It's essential. Our bodies are capable of so much if we allow it exactly what it needs. And there are times where we genuinely need rest. Now, I get the sense that you might have been hearing this a lot, but with the high priestess here and messengers, what I'm picking up the most here is that one of the reasons why your guides want you to rest is because they want you to get more in touch with your sixth sense. Your ESP, your clairs, your psychic abilities, your ability to read and understand energy, and first and foremost, your own energy. It's time to slow down and disconnect from the outside world so you can connect internally. And from there, this comes out. And this is what solves you from the wall in front of you. It doesn't mean that that there are going to be divine messengers that are going to come in. You're not going to have a guardian angel come in, swoop down, pick you up, and lift you out and do it all for you. But what they will do is show you what you need to see. But in order to do that, you have to allow yourself to rest. And now I just heard resting on my laurels. You're not resting on your laurels. You're not resting on some prior success or achievement that you've had. What you're doing is you're saying, okay, I've done all of this, but I also am worthy of taking a break. I'm worthy of taking a breather. I'm worthy of allowing myself to rest and allowing this part of myself to receive the wisdom that it needs to receive. Sometimes we don't feel like we're capable of doing that. We don't feel like we're worthy of doing that. And that's okay. It's understandable. But in this time, in this phase, in this age, or whenever you're watching this, whenever this message gets to you, whenever you interact with it, this is a time for you to take a breather, because there is a lot of awareness, a lot of understanding, a lot of guidance waiting to come into your energy, into your awareness, into your life. It's just waiting, but it's waiting on you to take a pause and to interact with it. Because when you decide that rest and taking care of yourself is it's as worthy of being given that, or you are as worthy of allowing yourself to rest, to receive, as anybody else that you're out in the world working to help. You guys have just gone through this massive overhaul of your energy. Having a sun in Capricorn while Pluto was transiting it, that is a 1-2 ego punch. That is I'm going to knock you down this peg and this peg and this peg. I'm going to show you a different way. I am going to transform your life. You are going to transform your life. And that's what I always say about Capricorn. Do I have a hair? Okay. That's what I always say about Capricorn is this kind of like transform or die energy. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. It's not Capricorn, Pluto. I apologize. Pluto is that transform or die energy. It's that pressurized energy of what is going on deep, deep within you. Now, you have just had Pluto, the planet that is furthest from the sun, and it's now interacting, or it was interacting with your sun sign. Wherever the house in your chart that this happened, that's the area of your life that you probably saw it the most. But the thing is with the sun is where we come to life. The sun is what gives us life, because without the sun, we would not have life. We have to have the sun. We have to have the earth. We have to have all of these perfect conditions. And so now this is asking you to take a break, take a rest, and recognize what has been transformed and how much you have changed. What a difference a life makes. Wow. Okay. Capricorn Suns, that is what I have for you. Your energy is making me a little bit floaty right now. I'm not going to lie. We are going to move on. We're at 2812 to Capricorn Moons. I'm just making notes so that I can get it time stamped. We have the card Super Moon with Wild Card, and this is the card 16. Interesting. It's Tower energy. And then we have the Queen of Cups. And we have Sanctuary. Curate your realm, sacred space, altar, and haven. I am not at all shocked here. Okay. Again, I'm getting a very similar energy to Capricorn Sun. I'm getting a very similar energy to all of Capricorn. There's this energy of you guys having really worked through a lot. With your cards in particular, I'm picking up from the Wild Card and Sanctuary that you're finding a safe space to be yourself, to embrace your gifts, to shine your gifts, to share your gifts. It's in some place that you would not have expected. It's kind of like, okay, I'll give myself for an example. I'm sitting here doing tarot readings. I grew up in a Lutheran Christian home. Many of my relatives are pastors, priests, not priests. I believe that's kind of relegated to the Catholic Church. Anyway, many of them are pastors. They're, very prominent within their churches, all of that. I went to church every Sunday. Astrology, divination, numerology, energy healing, these kind of things are not accepted by the religion that I was raised in. The religion that I was raised in, nor by the pastor that I had. In fact, when I was opening myself up to my gifts, my childhood pastor told me that I was damning my soul by engaging in divination and astrological studies and practices. And I chose to walk away from that kind of fear, that short-sightedness. So I found sanctuary within the divination and the tarot community, within the astrological community, within this area of life that I never knew existed until I was in my 30s. And it was like a wild card. It just threw me for a loop. I never would have expected that I would find the safest space being within the realm of magic and mysticism and wonder and awe, but I am. I feel more myself every day that I sit down and channel messages than anything else. I feel more like this. The Queen of Cups, she's deeply empathetic. As a Capricorn moon, you are deeply empathetic, and that can go one way or another. You can be so empathetic that you end up going down the path of the dark empath, or you become so empathetic that you can't handle being out in the world because the woes of the world are just so much. I get that one myself because of the way that my energy is and the way that my empath gift works. And I'm not accusing any of you guys of being a dark empath. I'm just picking up what I can from the card, especially right here. I feel that darker energy, like it wants to suck you in. But another thing that I get is like, it's like this, whatever you wouldn't expect is what is the right thing. This wild card in sanctuary, it's saying, if you wouldn't expect to find your path in the darkness, you would expect to find it in the light. You wouldn't expect to find it in the darkness. It's to the darkness that you look that you find your path. And sometimes that can be really challenging to kind of comprehend, to accept. But the divine is saying, this is how it is. It's how it's meant to be. All of our souls came down here and we had this reason for coming down here. There is a reason why we're here. And your soul is here to experience things that don't necessarily make sense. And as down to earth as you are, Capricorn, that can be difficult. Even if you don't have a Capricorn Sun or a Capricorn Rising, your emotions are telling you you have to be harder. You have to be firmer. You have to not fall or falter or cave. You can't be weak, but yes, you can. There is safety and sanctuary within being weak, within allowing yourself to cry. What your guides and your ancestors want you to think about right now is, where is the place in your life? And this can be a metaphorical place or a real place. Where is it in your life that you know without a doubt that you are exactly where you're meant to be, no matter what? And people won't understand it. People aren't meant to understand it. This is for you. This is what's important for you. And I just saw 3344. So you may be seeing repeating numbers. You may not, but I wanted to mention that. Have you found that in destruction, you gain more strength? Do you feel ashamed if your answer was yes? I find that the deepest traumas in my life have been the biggest blessings. And some people don't understand it, but I do. So Capricorn, if you feel like there's this wild card experience of your life that helped you be aware that you can be both light and dark. You can hurt people. You can be hurt by people. And there's no way to tell necessarily how it's going to play out unless you understand that within yourself is the safest space, that you know what the safest space is. No one else needs to understand the truth of your being, the truth of your life, the truth of your heart and your soul. No one else needs to understand it, only you. All right, Capricorn Moons. This is where I leave you. I'm going to dive into Capricorn Rising. Capricorn Rising, you're at 3515. All right. Okay, I'm going to take another sip of coffee. All right, Capricorn Rising. You have card 5 with Blessing Moon and Contentment. This is interesting. I was actually picking up mudra energy earlier, and I'm not huge into mudras. I don't know a lot of them, but you may want to do some studies on them. This one, to me, I want to say that when I use this, it has something to do with learning how to trust my own intuition. It might not be the exact reason or the exact purpose of that mudra itself. It's your thumb to your ring finger. But that's always what I've felt with it. Then we have the King of Swords. Some of you may be connected to a Gemini. You may have Gemini placements. You don't have to for that to resonate, but that energy came up. And Shadow Key, Inner Waters, Disclosure, Emotional Healing. Okay. When our mind is cloudy, when our emotions are shaken up, when we're in this state, it's almost like the King of Swords reversed. We're in this state where our mind is just filled with shadows. We don't know which way is up. But if you look above the king is this beautiful hawk. And what does one of the number one things a hawk is known for is its keen eyesight. It has the ability to soar high up in the sky and to see very minute details down on the ground in order to be able to get its prey so it can eat. We can fight and battle and move against our own shadow work. Yeah, we can. We can not want to go into the depths of who we are. Sometimes the mind can be the darkest realm that we've ever navigated through. We can think that, we've been through some dark experiences in our lives, but going into our own minds and our own hearts and our own pasts can be darker than facing a firing squad out in the street. And that doesn't mean that people are ever going to really understand how that feels. But I get it because I am my own worst enemy. I am my own biggest bully. I battle and fight against myself more than anything or anyone else. I have the highest set of standards for myself, above and beyond what anybody else sets their standards for. So I do understand. But in order for our mind to be clear, for us to feel that sense of peace and contentment in our hearts and our souls, to understand that blessings come in many different forms and not always in the form of some great gift, some beautiful, joyful thing. Sometimes our greatest blessings are in our worst pain. Your guides, your ancestors, angels, the cosmos, what they want you to understand is the more that you yearn for contentment and the more that you try to keep moving and moving and moving anything outside of yourself, the more you're going to be knocked back internally, because contentment is born from within. Clarity is born from within. Healing comes from within first and foremost. And I understand if you don't know where you're going, you don't know how to start. There are a ton of resources out there. There are hotlines. There's online help. I know it seems like there's not a lot. And if you have limited resources, it can feel like there's not even any hope. But in those times, and I've been in those situations, I've been in the situation where there isn't enough money for me to have medical insurance coverage would have been a detriment to our income. So I have gone without medical insurance. And so I've had to go without any kind of psychiatric or psychological help. And it hasn't been possible. And because I've been in that state, I understand how that is. Now, this might be a very specific message for someone, particular person with Capricorn rising. I don't know. But what I'm getting here is this kind of reality thing of, yeah, it can seem like there is no hope. Like you can't go out and get help from anybody else. When that happened to me, it was a lesson for me to learn how to help myself because I wasn't doing that either. And for me to have to learn that first is the purpose of that is for me to understand that it's okay to ask for help outside of myself. But if I'm not helping myself, then I become dependent on other people to save me, to help me, to guide me. Your guides, you're always surrounded by help. There's always spiritual help for you. But if you rely on them, then do you ever see yourself clearly? Do you ever see your strengths clearly? Do you ever recognize that you have all of the keys to the kingdom of whatever dream that you hold in your heart and in your soul? And you have those keys in your shadow, in those places that you don't want to look and don't want to face because it's really hard. It's hard for a reason. If it wasn't hard, if it didn't push you, it wouldn't be worth it. Think of the easiest things in life. The things that have been the easiest, have they helped you to feel content with your life, or have they made you feel like you have to keep pushing, keep fighting, keep making, keep doing, keep being more and more and more and more because there is no contentment, there is no peace internally because it's too easy. Holy cow, this is a dramatically different energy than the other two. Basically, Capricorn risings, this is about you being willing to charge into yourself and recognize that it's that hard for a reason. It is that challenging for a reason. The reason for it is because the only place that you are going to find the truest level of contentment in your life is through the blessing of recognizing yourself. It is through clearing your mind of all of the chaos and all of the clutter and allowing for that clarity and pure laser focused eyesight, that laser focused vision of your mind to come into being by coming forth from the shadows. But that means it has to navigate the shadows first. Believe in yourself and recognize that, yeah, it's hard, it's frustrating, it's confusing, it doesn't make sense. And you can be just utterly exhausted, but this is the time right here and right now for you to take your charge, for you to take your steps, for you to move into this energy because you deserve it. Because you have done so much. Do it for yourself first. And then allow yourself to feel those blessings. It's almost like when you see it, you see it. When you do it, you do it. It's the hardest step is always going to be the first. Actually, I disagree with that channel message personally. So if you want to take that channel message because it feels right to you, absolutely. For me, I think the hardest step to take is the one after you've taken a dozen steps and then you take a break. You take a breather. The next first step is always the hardest for me. It's moving back into it after a time of pause, after a time in which it seemed like it was done, and then you have to go back into it. That's always been the hardest for me. So yes, in a way, it is still the first step, but it's the first step after already having taken the first step. When we have that beginner's mind and we have that beginner's luck, we just leap. We do it. The excitement of doing something new, of experiencing this, or the excitement or the assurance that we are going to have a better life when we get through that shadow. It has led me directly in, and I get it. But going back in after you come back out, that's really challenging. So I won't negate that. But I will tell you that those challenges are there because it means so much to you, because it is so important to you, because it's so important to your soul. And that means that your soul is important to everything in this world. All right, Capricorns, if you stayed through all of the sun, moon risings, through the channeled messages, through this whole reading, or you just came and grabbed your snippet, whatever it is, I am so grateful for you guys being here. I want to send you guys all my love, so much positive energy. And I want to send all of my thanks. I have so much gratitude in my heart for having this energy come forth, for working with your energies, and for interacting with you guys. So thank you so much. Thank you to your guides, my guides, the Great Spirit, the cosmos, the angels, ancestors, deities. Thank you to all who came together for these messages to be able to be brought forth into the world. It is such an honor and a blessing for me to be here. Capricorns, without further ado, I am going to give the little YouTube spiel. If this resonated, you feel called to, please go ahead and feel free to like, subscribe. I genuinely appreciate it. If you don't feel like it, not a big deal. I just had a huge deja vu moment. Holy crapola. All right. This is where I leave you. I love you guys. Bye.